Yo, yo, guys. How's it going? Good morning. I decided to just hop on to say what up, because apparently it's a holiday and I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I just don't take holidays off, really. I don't pre-plan that in my schedule. Because, especially on days like today, I feel like today's like today, mental health workers should be working their asses off. That's just my take. If you're thinking about hopping in, please hop in, because I'm here to answer questions for you guys. Welcome, welcome. So today I have a gap in my schedule, and I wanted to take this opportunity and see if you guys have questions. If you're one of my followers and you've been watching some of my most recent videos, I hope you have questions, because that's actually what helps you grow and heal and expand as a person. Curiosity is what's missing in this world. That's why people are suffering, because they don't ask enough questions. When they're like, this seems off. Let's see what that's about. That's how I got to where I'm at now, by asking a lot of fucking really hard questions and not getting answers, so I find them myself. Hey. So if you don't follow me, my name is Melissa. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I primarily try to help veterans, because I think veterans are the ones who have the most potential to actually flip this world around. And they're targeted specifically to keep the world from flipping in the most positive way possible. So that's why I'm helping veterans. All right. If you have questions for me, like especially about, like I labeled this like veteran override Q&A, because a lot of people showed interest in the veteran override. Like I sent that link to, I don't even know how many people, probably like at least 50. And I only had 5 people in the workshop. So that shows you how many people are actually willing to act on what interests them or what is calling to them. That's just the difference. Hey, friend. Long time no talk, man. So yeah, I want to kind of like I'm only going to go off of people's questions, really. I don't want to like give too much info that people aren't quite ready for. They're not at that level. So I encourage you to ask questions related to mental health, related to like problems in your life, but specifically repeated loops. I just made a bunch of drawings in one of my sessions this morning, and I was like, I want to share these drawings because I usually do it on a whiteboard, but I didn't have my whiteboard this morning in my session, so I had to do it on this like workbook that I have. It's like a mindfulness coloring book that I've had for years that I don't actually use. I would love to, but I don't make the time for it. But I use the back of these sheets to draw some illustrations for my client. And it's actually, the illustrations are actually from my workshop that I just held, the Veteran Override workshop. I just redrew it to help explain it. My client just basically got the Veteran Override workshop this morning in our session. All right. So what I covered in the Veteran Override workshop was basically, I tried to reframe mental health problems, reframe any problems that people have in their life as a repeating loop, and targeting it from a physics standpoint. Because the reason that a lot of veterans struggle is because the information that they're getting to help with their mental health is incomplete. They're getting like 10% of the information, and it's not clicking. They don't understand the importance of doing certain things, like for example, catching your thoughts when they come in. They don't understand necessarily like the impact of that. And so basically what I'm doing is trying to give the whole picture so people can make informed decisions for themselves. Because I don't give a fuck what people do. Like, I don't really care. Like, you could do whatever you want. You could stay miserable. You can like be in the victim mentality. You can have suicidal thoughts. You can have all that stuff. Like, that's not on me. But what my role is, I feel like, is to help people make informed decisions through giving them all the information. As much information as I could possibly give. So that's what I'm here for. So that's why people have to start asking questions. Because even if you struggle with like severe mental health problems, there's a reason why you're still here. There's likely some questions you need answered first before you can decide on whatever that is. So, Oh, AI summary. A clinical social worker answers mental health questions. That's funny. Yes, specifically for veterans. Like last time I did a live, I had a whole shit ton of civilians follow me, which is fine, but that's not like my target audience. Veterans are the hardest ones to reach, man. You guys are stubborn as fuck, but for good reasons. Mainly because you don't trust people. So that's why I'm on this live. To hopefully try to help you with that trust. All right, so I don't want to start giving this information out when I don't have interaction. So I won't start teaching and helping you until I'm getting interaction, because I'm not going to do this shit in vain. It's called an energy exchange. So I give my energy, you give yours back. That's how this works. So if you want my assistance, you have to do a little bit of work. And I've actually set up a lot of my stuff this way where there's like barriers on purpose. So you have to do a little bit of work and feel a little bit uncomfortable to get what you want. Because that's what life's all about. So, for example, I had donations set up for my workshop. Like I had a veteran who donated $1,000 to me. And I was like, oh shit, okay. I don't know how I'm going to use this, but I will use it responsibly, whatever that ends up being. So a month later, I create this workshop and I'm like, this is perfect. I can help people who don't have the funds to help themselves through getting their spot sponsored or like have a scholarship essentially. So I was like, I ain't just giving this shit away, bro. You got to work for it. You got to like actually show that you want it. So I created layers because there's a reason why people can't afford shit. And it's far beyond the, I don't want to put this. It's far beyond just like their circumstances. It has a lot to do with their mentality. It has a lot to do with their belief systems. It has a lot to do with like their willingness to push past difficult things and to advocate for themselves and to think critically, think outside the box, put themselves in uncomfortable situations and take risks. That's why people struggle with money. They're scared or they're like stuck in a loop. So if people can't afford what I put out there, there's a reason for that. And a lot of it has to do with where they're currently at mentally. So I create these like layers that they have to go through to get what they want. Like an application. They had to apply to get their scholarship for the workshop that I put on. And then out of those people who applied, 2 showed up. I had like 9 that applied, 2 showed up. So that goes to show like even when shit is free, people still don't fucking take advantage of stuff. So it's not that the information isn't available to them. It's coming at them 24/7. Like everything that you're trying to pull into your reality to manifest, to get what you want, you get opportunities for that all fucking day, every day. But you don't have eyes to see it. excuses get in the way, distractions get in the way. It's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of self-love. It's a lack of awareness. So that's the battle here. It's not mental health or whatever. Like, sure, it's labeled that, but the battle is actually like you fighting for yourself, believing in yourself. That's really what it boils down to. So the people that actually showed up are the ones that asked. They like had issues getting into accessing their scholarship like registration. They had to email me and be like, hey, I tried to register and it didn't work. So instead of just quitting in the first try, they emailed me and got uncomfortable and took that extra step, and then they got into the workshop. And the ones that didn't get access to the workshop. It's just as simple as that. So I have a lot of people hopping in and out. No one's interacting. So I can't help you until you ask questions, guys. Get uncomfortable. Do the hard thing. It's like, here's it right in your field right now, trying to help you with your problems. And I have like a fucking wealth of information to provide, but I need you to interact for that to occur. So you have to do a little bit of work. I'm not just going to give this shit away for free. And I don't mean free like money. I'm saying you give your energy, I give mine. So, do I have comments turned off or something? Why did no one comment? Oh no, wait, I do have comments turned on because someone did say something before. All right. So someone at least give me like some sort of comment of some sort so I know people can comment. Because this is like my third or fourth time ever doing a live. Oh, what up? Okay. Here we go. Thank you guys. I was literally like, I'm just going to fucking hop off. You guys don't want to talk. All right. You want the info, but you feel like a full sponge. I can only absorb fractional info. Absolutely, dude. Honestly, it's less about you fully grasping and understanding something. It's more about the position that you put yourself in and how you feel during that interaction, even when you are confused. Like, you're blocking it through, like if your body's like super freaking rigid and always stuck in that survival place, it's going to be more difficult for you to grasp deeper concepts and thinking like in a grander scale, because you've trained your body to believe that somehow you can't, like you're dumb, or like you can't grasp hard things or something like that. So it's not even about understanding what I'm saying. It's about like, as I'm saying it, how are you feeling while I'm saying it? Are you getting a lot of resistance? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling like you're hitting a wall? That's feedback for you. That's your internal world sending you feedback. And that's something that you need to explore, period. If you're not grasping the stuff that I have on my videos and stuff like that, it's because it's hitting your internal walls. It's like hitting blockages, and you could call it like ego blockages. And your body's resisting that information. It's catching it before you even understand it. It's like, you can view it as like a frequency. The information that I put out holds a specific frequency. And if you're not at that place, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel like frustration maybe. Or for some people, it might feel like they don't like me. Or they disagree. Stuff like that. It'll come up in different ways. I just had someone actually like stitch one of my posts. It was really weird because they actually stitched this post before, and they were kind of like nice, like educational, and then they stitched it again like weeks later, like trashing me. So I was like, ooh, I really activated them, which is a good thing. It's making them think. It's making them do some work to deepen their awareness. All right, let's see what else we got. Thank you. I actually don't even track holidays because they're prescribed holidays that program us and make us loop. I make my own shit up. Like it keeps us stuck in the past, keeps us in the future, keeps us fighting each other, shit like that. I mean, it's all what you make of it, I guess. What if you had identified the VA itself being a trigger? Also, what if you don't want to talk about the past anymore? That's great if you don't want to talk about that or the past. However, your past lives inside of you. And it's not like, it is kind of literal. Like you have literal time capsules stuck inside of your body. And this is like an image I used this morning in one of my sessions. You have literal time capsules inside of your body where your trauma is stored. Aspects of you that were hurt during a trauma or during like a really negative experience where it was overwhelming. Could have been like, you got made fun of or whatever. It doesn't have to be like some crazy big trauma. But those experiences, when they're jolting enough, they get stuck. They get coded. And this is why it's important to go to the past, but very strategically. You don't just go to the past to like fucking prolonged exposure. That's literally like, I understand it. I understand why it could be helpful, but it's like addressing 10% of the picture. So unless you understand the whole picture of what you're fucking doing, you're going to cause your entire system to create new protective mechanisms because you just completely abandoned yourself and overrode your entire fucking system through prolonged exposure. But the VA itself being a trigger for you, that is giving you feedback. That's like, basically, there's something about it that's telling you, like, I don't like this. And if you keep doing whatever the fuck you're doing, like going to the VA or seeing the same person or whatever it is, if you keep doing whatever you're doing and you don't actually consciously explore what that trigger is, why you're triggered by it, what's going on there, then you're going to keep looping. You're going to stay stuck. We've been trained to completely ignore all of our internal signals. The military literally trains us to override our fear and our intuition. We're supposed to operate off protocol. The only time we're supposed to use our intuition is like, if you're a leader and you're like, you got some troops behind you and you're the first fucking one there. They may need to operate off intuition as far as like their senses and like hypervigilance and stuff. But otherwise, you've been trained to like shut up and color. So you're basically now catapulted into a situation where you're going to have to fend for yourself and you're going to have to learn how to read your own signals. And we've never been taught how to do that. We've always overrode them and abandoned ourselves in the process. So, that's essentially what prolonged exposure does. It fucking compounds that self-abandonment. That's why I don't like it. Very lesbian energy? No, I'm not lesbian. I'm married. I'm married to a man with 3 children. I do have masculine energy, I will say that. I think I'm a really good combo between masculine and feminine because I need to be able to get to the guys, basically. There's mostly veterans are male, so I gotta kind of like be a bro, but also like be like a I don't know how to describe it. It's like, wow, there's something about your eyes. I'm drawn to you. Now they'll listen. And then I fucking with my calling them out and shit. And they're like, I'm so confused. I'm attracted to you, but somehow like you're like making me feel uncomfortable. It's a great combo. And it's funny because it actually used to make me feel very insecure. But now I've like harnessed that bitch. I'm like, all right, I understand why I am the way I am now. Trauma is stored in the body. Some is stored in the gut. Absolutely, bro. Fuck yeah. And so we can't just say trauma is stored in the body without actually explaining what that really means. So how I conceptualize that is trauma stored in the body is basically like a package of energy with a very specific code, like a biological, chemical payload. And it's coded very specifically to use in the present moment. And when it's held onto because you couldn't express it because it was unsafe, like say you're fucking getting blown up downrange, you're not gonna fucking, you're like, oh my god, ah! No, you gotta lock in, bro, or else people are gonna get killed. So it gets stuck, it gets stored. But the problem is we never go back to revisit the past to go let that be expressed, let that be felt. It's like, think about two dogs like smelling each other. Their hairs are all up and they're like all tense and shit. And they're like, is he cool? Is he cool? Is he cool? And then they freaking, after that interaction, they're like, all right, he's cool. They shake that energy off. They were using that chemical combo, you view it as like a little, I don't know, packet of energy. I gotta find better terminology, but they're using that for their advantage of like hypervigilance, body tension, all that. That type of packaging is very specific to keep you safe, and you're supposed to use it. But then you're supposed to shake that shit off afterwards. So this is why like a bunch of dudes say, or dudes in general, some girls too, whatever, they like can punch holes in walls and shit. Because they have so much energy pent up, like in their hands specifically. Like a lot of dudes get like energy built up in their hands. And they got to do something with it, and that's how it'll express because they don't know how else to let it out in a way that is healthy, quote unquote, or acceptable in society, whatever. Or they'll just hold it in and then they get arthritis in their hands over time. Because it's literally like holding that fucking payload in your hands. It's literally like how do I want to describe this? Pent up energy. It's like storage. It's just compounding and condensing, and you're literally like a ticking time bomb when you don't feel those chemical payloads coming through. Random question, do you know why I get the runaround and why the VA doesn't want me to do shadow work? Yeah. Well, I don't really know. I haven't worked at the VA, but I will tell you, the VA, how do I want to put this? There's different levels of awareness that I have that I can tap into right now of how I want to explain this answer. So I got to choose like, okay, which angle do I want to express from? Okay, the very bottom level would be the VA has a very structured approach. They do not want their therapist going rogue, you could call it. Because shadow work is very nuanced and requires creativity, and it's like an art form, essentially, to be someone's guide through that process. That's not really teachable. It's not like cut and dry, like you go through 6 weeks and then you know how to do shadow work with people. This is like built through experience over time. And a lot of it is like your natural experiences in life and you just being good at like being able to see the world in this way and helping people. It's not, you can't teach someone that shit. So they've basically made it so these therapists are just reading off manuals and they're manualized therapies. You can't manualize shadow work. It's impossible. So like maybe you can have a loose framework, like internal family systems, for example, is a very loose framework to do shadow work. You will not see the VA using that, at least in this decade, because it is such a fucking massive thing to teach therapists. The number one thing you have to do if you're helping someone through their shadow work or trauma work, their deep innermost darkest things, you have to be able to fucking hold yourself in a position of neutrality, in like almost observer role. And if you haven't done your own shadow work, which most fucking therapists haven't, okay, they're literally either on power trips or they're fucking savior complex. All right, that's like a lot of your therapists out there. They have not done their own fucking work. That's why they became therapists, because they have unresolved trauma, and their subconscious is trying to help them to resolve these things. Unfortunately, ends up like getting projected out onto clients. So that's what you're going to get with a lot of therapists at the VA, because they get trained up by the VA, and then the VA offers them a job through that internship. And a lot of therapists are there for the wrong reasons. They're like, oh, it's a stable job. Oh, it's the benefits, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of like in the lower level of why the VA doesn't want you to do shadow work. I could get to the higher levels, but then I might get flagged on here. My shit might get banned. I have I have a podcast where we're not just talking like mental health. It's like more like spiritual awakening shit. And I just posted something yesterday and it was like instantly taken down. I was like, oh shit, I'm getting a little bit too close. So I don't want to do that on this account, because it matters to me. If I lose these followers, it would suck. Because my followers are very curated in this account. Like, they're mostly dudes, veterans in their 30s and 40s. That's actually that's my specific target audience. Yeah, the dogs were assessing a threat when they're sniffing each other. Absolutely. And once they assess if the threat is legit or if they're like, they're cool, they'll either hold that tension and then add to the aggression, or they're going to shake it off. AI summary discussing trauma, intuition, and military experiences. Share your thoughts. That's cool. Sometimes I hate AI, sometimes I like it, like in situations like this. All right, I'm trying to fix my mental health from MST while my own parents were abusing me for coming home. Okay. So I'm going to say this is like a blanket thing, not directly towards you, Summer Z570. How do I want to put this? I take a lot of responsibility with how I frame information. So when you're stuck in this, you're basically stuck in a trance. That's how I want to frame this. You're stuck in a trance. And the VA actually compounds these trances through labels such as MST. And I know, like, from one angle, it looks like it's being very helpful because, like, wow, it's being normalized, being talked about. It's, they want to help us now. More people are coming out and they've experienced the same thing, so I feel less alone. Like, that's the positive side of labeling things, of like, okay, I'm not the only one, or I know now I have a definition for what happened to me, where before I was very confused. Now I know it was wrong, and all that stuff. But the problem with this, and this isn't just MST, this is labels like PTSD, like freaking ADHD. Like, these labels lock you into a specific mentality around that, because you're going to have like all sorts of preconceived notions, and like it's going to anchor into your current existing identity, which is basically how you view yourself and how you interact with the world around you. Who are you in relation to the world around you is how this is going to be framed in your mind. And a lot of times, probably 90% of the time, it gets framed in a victim mentality. The victim mentality is what will keep you stuck looping. Because I'm not saying you have a victim mentality, I'm just saying the victim mentality in general keeps people stuck. which is what the VA has done. Oh, you're stuck with this for your whole life. Now, because you're desperate and because we're in the position of your savior, we can now fucking tell you to do whatever we want and you'll do it. It's a position of power. So how do you fix your mental health around it is very nuanced. There is a reason why trauma gets stuck in the first place. Because not everyone who experiences a trauma is going to experience, say, PTSD symptoms. There's a reason why it got stuck. It got jammed. And it has to do with your identity. Who are you in relation to the world? Are you a victim? Or is it your fault? Kind of thing. Those are like the two polarized ends of it. Both of them are untrue. So that's kind of where you have to start. I know it doesn't really give you a good answer, but okay. Oh, I got gifts. I don't know how to. I never go on live, so I don't know how to like interact with this shit. I don't know what that stuff means. So thank you if you're giving me anything. I don't know what it means. Okay. I'd love a chance to discuss some potential joint chats for support. So you know what I've learned? A lot of people have been reaching out to me lately, like wanting to collaborate. And I used to take people up on those offers every single time. But now what I'm seeing is like, it's actually a major distraction from what I'm doing. So it's not personal. It's just like, it tends to be like, I end up helping people achieve their dreams instead of me pursuing mine. And through me pursuing mine, I'm going to be helping a fuck ton of people. Okay. So people are going to come into my field to distract me, even though it seems like really positive, like, oh, we should collaborate. We should do projects together. We should do all these things. But in reality, it actually just made me stay in the same place for a really long time because I was putting all my energy into helping other people achieve their shit. So that's why I'm like pulling back and I'm not giving my energy to everybody. I have to stay very protected and boundaried up right now while I create what I'm creating. So it's kind of like a weird way of like rejecting people. Oh, but it's not personal. It's not personal. But if it feels personal, that means that you have some shadow work to do. Identity work to do. That's what shadow work is. Basically inner child healing is what it comes down to. Okay. What's the podcast name? Betrayal Body Podcast. If you're going to follow it, so I'm on YouTube and then TikTok. If you're going to follow it, if you're not going through a spiritual awakening, it's going to sound really fucking crazy to you. Okay. I'm going to sound like a crazy person. I'm talking about like the conspiracy stuff that people talk about that I used to like roll my eyes at 2 years ago. And then I woke up and I'm like, oh shit. There's a real actual like psychological war going on. You need relationship help? Well, I actually have an entire course for that. I just put it on my, I don't know if I'm allowed to like do this. So I'm kind of being cryptic about it, but like there is a thing you can click on in my main area of my TikTok. And there's an entire 12-week course on that. Relationships, specifically for military peeps and first responders. They got a lot of trauma to work through, and my course covers how to navigate relationships within that space. Okay, let me see what else. We love you and always have your back. Just say the word. Love it. Thanks, guys. That is the nice thing about having like the following that I do. If I ever like needed you guys, I know you'd fucking be there. And I've seen that actually. I see you guys stick up for me when people are talking shit. I don't need that, but like that's really fucking awesome. because I could see like if so many people were just like talking shit like more often, then I could see how that could push someone to quit. And then people won't get the help that actually want it. But luckily, I got some thick fucking skin, guys. I've done my shadow work. My identity is solid. I've figured out what helps my nervous system. Like right now, I have one headphone in listening to music. It's plugged into my computer. My other headphone's plugged into my phone. So I have this just like, all right, cool, in the sidelines to keep me grounded. And it's very helpful. And how I got that idea was I saw someone's live and they're just like coloring. They're just like drawing scribbles while they're talking on live. And I was like, I like that. It's a nice little distraction. Because like ADHD or neurodivergent minds, which I never really realized I had until more recently, you need something to ground you so you can stay on track. So the music for me is it. My CPTSD got worse while being my mom's caregiver who had dementia and passed away 3 years ago. Yeah, well, so my PTSD, you see how you're owning it? You see how it's part of your identity now? That's what they want, bro. They want you to like own an identity or make it your identity, which we gotta deprogram that. But basically, you have to dig a little deeper. Like, what does that even mean to you? What does that represent? And what actually got worse? And why? That's like literally, you could sit there and just like do an entire journal fucking thing on that, and it'll show you all your weak spots, all your loops. Through your body's constantly giving you feedback on like your blockages. So pulling this back up, this is a toroidal field around you. Okay, it's constantly you're like sending out a message like, I want this in my life, I have these dreams, and so it's going to try to bring it to you every single day. It's going to try to give you opportunities to achieve your dreams and to, get healthy, get better, whatever. It's going to bring it to your field, and this could come through a thought of like, man, I should really do the dishes. Because it's in layers. It's like it has to start small, Sometimes though, the ADHD brains, they get the big downloads of like, oh my God, I see the vision of like my future, and it's very paralyzing because you don't even know where to start. But it'll bring these things into your field, and if you're all blocked up with all your past shit that you haven't addressed yet because you're too scared, yeah, it's gonna come in and bring this opportunity. It's gonna be like, well, nope, not ready yet. Let's do another pass in a year. Well, nope, still not ready yet. They're not willing to look at themselves still. Oh, let's try again. Nope, still not ready. 10 years go by. Now you got more blockages because you fucking keep not feeling your feelings. Feelings, guys, they're not what we think they are. They're not like these mushy-gushy fucking dumb shit that they tell us it is. They're not even meant to be labeled, to be honest. Like as shame, guilt, fear, blah, blah, blah. Like that actually makes it more complicated when you label them. Basically what emotions are, they're very specific packages, chemical packages for you to take action on that are sent from, in my workshop I just did, I called it your RTO. Your RTO is on the front lines, sending information back to the command center, which is you, the observer. You're observing your human experience. Your RTO is going to send you these signals, these messages encrypted. It's going to be encrypted so only you can interpret them. And what that shows up as is an emotion, an energetic payload for you to use to your benefit. It's trying to help you manifest what you're trying to manifest. So a perfect example of this is like, I don't like self-loathing, like in my life. Like I don't like going like, oh, fucking boohoo, my whole life fucking sucks. But it's 100% there in the background, and I fight with it. In situations like my daughter has like a chronic autoimmune situation going on. She's 2. So, and she's up every 15 minutes all night since January. And my husband went on a not business trip. What the fuck am I saying? He doesn't even work. He's a stay-at-home dad, so I guess he took a vacation. He went off to Colorado for like a music festival thing for like 4 days. And so I was by myself with my daughter and my other 2 kids. And it was starting to chip away because I could only handle so much because I'm used to having him there to help. And when I was doing it by myself, I started like getting in my feels a bit, especially at nighttime. It's 2 a.m. She's crying and like all over me saying like, help me, mommy, help me. Like, and when you can't do anything for your kid and they're screaming for help, like it's the most gut-wrenching, fucking heartbreaking thing you can experience, I think. So at that point, I broke. And instead of like pushing it away, I just let myself feel it. Even though like a part of me was like, you're being such a fucking victim right now. Like your daughter's the one suffering, not you, you know? That was there, but I just let myself feel that, like the ugly cry. I just let myself do it. And I was like, let's just feel it. So I felt it. And the crazy thing is, I've experienced thoughts that I have never thought before. Like dark thoughts. Dark thoughts. And I was like, okay, now I can see why people want to end it. I mean, I already kind of could see why, but it was like on a deeper level. And when I felt that, I was like, holy shit. I would never have known that was there inside of me unless I allowed myself to cry like that. Because it releases a specific breath pattern, a specific, specific tensions in your body and your nervous system that will activate you, that will open new doors for you to see if you have eyes to see it. So I was simultaneously in the victim mentality, but also have activation. I had activation of I call it the command center, which is the observer role. And I was observing my victim experience. And so then I got tons of information. I was like, holy shit, dude. By me suppressing this side of me in the way that I was, I freaking would never have, I would have never gained access to this. And so now I have a new starting point for like the work that I do on myself. And I don't do work on myself through like meditations, closing my eyes and doing all that stuff. I'm kind of beyond the bigger layers like that. I needed that in the beginning, but now I'm like maintenance, I would call it, where I'm just like constantly checking myself all day long. And it's like automatic now. And it feels pretty easy now. So basically I just notice when those deeper victim thoughts come up and I sit with them for a little bit. Instead of just instantly pushing them away, I'm like, all right, what we got here, RTO? Why is this coming up right now? That's interesting. And it's helping me see where my blockages are from accessing my dreams. Your dreams can't come in until you deal with what's in the way first. You have to make room. So an example of this in the 3D world would be like, your house is cluttered as fuck. You got a bunch of shit you don't use. And every time you look at it, you feel drained or like you feel like, oh, I really need to do that. Well, when you see that in your physical reality with your eyes, that's a preview of what's going on inside here. So if you don't know where to start, you start in the external first. Clean that shit up first. And through your actions, you're proving to yourself like, okay, I can do hard things. And you're training, you're getting your muscles kind of worked on to build the stamina, the endurance, everything needed to do the inner work when you're ready. If you don't feel ready to look inside of yourself, then you're probably not ready yet. So you just do something else that kind of works toward that in like less intense way. That's not so overwhelming. Okay, as we peel back the layers of the onion, do they tend to get faster or slower processing them? Faster. Because you get more skills. Like now. And honestly, it has way more to do with the angle of which you're looking at things than it has to do with how hard things are, like how big the layers are. It's more of like once you get your angles down, it's like you could just move quick through shit. That's going to be the difference between you completing a loop, which basically is like a vicious cycle in your life. It's the difference between you completing a loop and staying in it is if you're actually in your command center, your observer role, or if you are in the victim seat, living in it. If you're too close to the situation, you're not going to have the eyes to see. But the objective is to... I drew this morning for a client. The objective is refinement, which is basically you have to have eyes to see from the command center, from up here, observing your human experience. You have to have the eyes to see your fucked up loops, the inferior code that you're running that is no longer working for you. The only way you're going to be able to see it is when you're in the leader role. It's like, think about like an E1, E2, E3, and a fucking 06. Okay? In the mindset difference. The 06 can see the bigger picture. The 06 has done training and all this other shit to like be it, and has worked their way through the ranks from a butter bar all the way up. So you're building your capacity to be able to see that much. So you have to start at the ground level, at the fucking E1, E2, E3. You experience life like, oh no, everything's is scary because I'm at the bottom of the food chain. But then as you work your way up, your confidence builds with it because your experience level is also compounding with it. And then before you know it, you're the one giving advice to the E1s, E2s, E3s. And you look at them and you're like, no, I remember those days. But you have to do the work to fucking get to that place. And people don't even want to start. That's their problem. They don't want to start. They're too scared. Or they're too lazy. Which I fall on the lazy side a lot. I'm definitely not scared of shit. If anything, I jump off cliffs like no problem. My issue is decision paralysis of like, which is better? You know, like it's like it's like challenging to me to be like, that's okay. That could work. But there's something better. I feel it. Let me find that. And so I'm the person that like circles the store like 10 times to like make sure I've seen all my options before I pick. It looks like I'm shoplifting. I've actually had security follow me a few times because I take like 4 hours to pick out a fucking outfit. It's like exhausting. Which is why I just wear basic ass shit. I was like, I don't have the fucking energy for this. Wait, let me see what other questions we got. So yeah, you'll get faster at your processing speeds, but you have to build the capacity by getting uncomfortable. Let's see. What up, Doc? Thanks, man. Thanks for the encouragement. I hope you have a good day too. What else we got? What does it exit your butt and enter your head? Yo, I was actually wondering that today. I was like, I don't know. Hold on a second. I was like, I don't know if our toroidal field goes like this or like this. Does it enter in your butt? I think so. What does it feel like? I think it enters in through the bottom. Pretty sure. Because if you know anything about chakras or whatever, your root is like where shit comes in, you know? And it's your filter of like, am I going to view this as fear in a fear-based perspective, or I'm going to be like open? I can't. That's funny. And so the way I view this is like how you're experiencing your life. It's not that your environment changes. It's that your angle of which you're viewing it changes. And that has everything to do with how safe you feel doing it. So when I first opened my business as a private practice 2 years ago, I was fucking terrified. Not of the actual business. I wasn't scared that it wasn't going to succeed. I always knew it would. I know I'm good at what I do. But what I was terrified of was being seen by other professionals that were going to be like, you're wrong. Where's your research? And all this dumb shit. And so it was terrifying to me to post videos. It wasn't about like the people receiving the videos and helping people. It was about like, am I brave enough to be scrutinized by my peers? That was the scary part for me. And so I want to frame this in like an analogy. You're walking through the woods and you have like your brothers and sisters with you, or your team with you, or your Boy Scouts, or whatever the fuck, you have people with you, and you're going through the woods. You just got there and you're like, maybe you're doing a scavenger hunt and you're with your crew and you're like, oh, look over here. Look, guys, let's go over here and find it. Da, 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 da. You're like lifting up rocks and you're like looking at the bugs and all this stuff. And you're like, you hear a noise and you're like, what's that? Let's go find out. Maybe it's a bear. And you're like running towards shit. But then you're like looking at something, you bend down to like look at a rock and then you look up and then your peeps aren't there anymore. And you're like, guys. And you hear and you're like, guys. The situation, the environment that you're in, exactly the same. But your interpretation, your experience of that environment, total 180. And this is because your sense of safety has been compromised because of your proximity to your peeps. So this is what happens with military transition. Your safety net's gone. And you're like, oh shit. Oh no, I'm alone in the woods. This is why it's so important to build up your spiritual side. It doesn't mean religion or anything. It means like when you're alone, you're not fucking alone. But are you aware of that? Are you aware you have an entire fucking team supporting you that you can't see? And it doesn't even have to be like that. It doesn't have to be that level of spiritual. It could just be you understanding physics. The field around you is trying to fucking help you all the time, dude. It's trying to bring in whatever the fuck you want 24/7. It's you blocking it because you're stubborn. So that's the difference. Besides, shadow work is 100% permanent total, just trying to find purpose again. The way you find your purpose is following what excites you, what interests you, what you're curious about. And that can literally be anything. That's your purpose. Your purpose is not supposed to feel hard. It's supposed to feel natural. Like for me, I always got shit grades in school. I freaking hated school. I never went. I skipped school to go to work because I was like, this is fucking stupid. I don't see the point. And I was very resistant to learning stuff. And I've always been this way. I'm very stubborn. I'm like, when I learn stuff or I'm in school, I'm in training, anything, I'm the one asking all the freaking questions. I'm like, well, is it really like this? Because da 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 da. And then they're like, that's me. So when I started going to school to be a therapist, it motivated me. I was very curious about the human mind. If I was fed through it, it felt good to me. And I got straight A's. And it was so easy. I was like, oh, I never knew like writing a paper was literally just following this stupid outline. They don't really give a fuck what's in there as long as you check these boxes. Okay, I can do that. And so it was easy. My learning therapy was easy too. I would literally read a manual and I could pick it up and run with it. Where other therapists are like, that's overwhelming to me. I need all these workshops and one-on-one help and coaching and whatever the hell. And I was like, it's really obvious. You just blah, blah, blah. So it came natural to me. So that's what your purpose is aligned with. Like whatever feels natural to you. And it's usually the shit you got made fun of for, your aspects of you that people don't like, that they pointed out was a problem. That's usually the side of you that you have to start loving on. Your videos have helped me tremendously to help me in the work that I do with veterans. Thank you. You're welcome. So glad, dude. I love that feedback, man. I don't need that feedback, but it's definitely nice to hear. Because sometimes I'm like, bro, am I in my own echo chamber? Like, am I just crazy and everyone's just like thumb upping me? like AI validating everything you say. Wow, you're really onto something. You're like, that's an incredible, what does AI say? That's really profound. You touched on something really profound there. So you're like, is that what my audience is doing to me? That's funny. What helped you most transitioning out? Oh no, where'd it go? Fuck. Oh god. Shit. Okay, here we go. What helped you the most in transitioning out of the Army? I was in the Air Force, but same idea. Well, maybe not the same. It was a little bit easier from the Air Force to civilian life. Let me just say that. My commander called me Melissa, so there's that. I just found out they initiated an MEB. Okay. Helped me the most was having a plan, bro. But in order to have a plan, you gotta know, you don't have to know what your purpose is, but you have to know what interests you at least. Of like, what would you like to do? Because a lot of veterans have just like paralysis of like, they have a world of opportunities at their fingertips, like having the GI Bill or something. They're like, I want to use it, but I don't like want to waste it, or like, I don't know what I want to do. So they're basically back at 18 again, not knowing what to do with their life, and they can't make a decision. So they do nothing and drink. That's a lot of vets. So yeah, having a plan. When I got out, I was like, I actually debated. This was like the year I was getting out. I debated becoming a veterinarian. No joke. A veterinarian, because I could see myself like going far there too. But I was like, that's going to take too long. Like, I don't know. I felt a little resistance to it, but I could see it. What else did I want to do? I interviewed for Harris Corporation to be a contractor, using my top secret. As I was getting out of the military, I was actually planning on doing that. I did have interest in being a therapist, but it wasn't like solid yet. I had worked for the suicide prevention program on base, and my boss was a civilian GS, and she was a therapist on the side. And I was like, how do you become a therapist? What's that all about? Because when I was doing the suicide prevention stuff, which is the Green Dot program that the Air Force tried out. I don't know if they're still doing it. This was like 10 years ago now. Jesus Christ. Does not feel like it's been that long. That's crazy. Especially because I was in for 10 years. Dude, I would be retiring. How far could I have gone? No regrets. Okay. So, while I was doing the suicide prevention program, people would come up to me after the training and start sharing their stuff with me of like, I've struggled with suicidal thoughts, blah, blah, blah. I never felt like safe enough to say it. And you somehow made it feel safer. I was like, oh shit, maybe there's something there with this. But I didn't know anything about mental health. I didn't even know I had anxiety. Besides, like, I'm really scared to talk in public, which was weird because I was doing these trainings, but I felt very comfortable in that space. So I eventually just like committed to, I was like, fuck it. Once I decide on something, I go in hard, bro. So when I got out, I had my CCAF, which is like your associates. What the fuck? My live will end in 5 minutes? What is this shit? Oh, hold on. Detected inactivity? What the crap? I'm active. How do I... Okay, whatever. Fuck you, TikTok. Okay. So... Oh, man. Where was I going? They did that on purpose, bro. Because where I was going with that. Oh, I go in hard with whatever I do. So I got out, I had my CCAF, which I learned that your CCAF, which is like your associates from the Air Force, does not translate into a civilian degree, okay? Not at least with the degree I was pursuing. So I had to go do 6 classes for my associates. Then I had to get my bachelor's. Then I had to get my master's. And squeeze all that shit into my GI Bill, which means I had to take a lot of classes at once to be able to do this. So I was very strategic. I had to plan ahead. Like, okay, I have this many credit hours, or this many hours, whatever, that the VA is going to fund. So I have to like plan this. And a lot of veterans don't do that. They literally just are like, they don't do any research whatsoever. They don't read policies. They don't, and a lot of times it's because they're stuck in fight flight. Understandable. I've always done my research. Like, I learned how to get promoted early. I knew when my band was, or when my time was coming up for that. I handed my supervisor my entire package. Because I was like, here, I'm ready to get selected below the zone. I did all my stuff. I knew I had to volunteer. I knew how to do it. So I do my research. So it's basically when you just jump into something without any freaking awareness and you just expect shit to just happen and get handed to you and all this stuff, that's when you're gonna fuck up transitioning out of the military. Do your research, guys. It's all there. The government and all that stuff, everything, even in the VA, it's all freaking there in the policies. Read it, learn it, educate yourself on it. You'll know how to freaking get what you need if you read the policies. If you don't know how, ask someone. You got to get yourself uncomfortable to get what you want in life. It's not easy. We're way too comfortable and soft, to be honest. We're lazy. We're fucking lazy. But this isn't to judge us. It's to just point out the truth, honestly. And some people just get overwhelmed by like what to do. And so what do you need first if you're overwhelmed? Fucking Google. I don't know. Ask for help. I'm working on stuck points with my VA therapist right now. Do you do any stuck point work? I did. I actually learned CPT, which is one of the main things I use. And I was drinking that Kool-Aid, bro. I was like, this is going to help you. This is going to cure your PTSD shit. Like, I was like, yeah, CPT is it, guys. And I was like feeding it to them. Yeah, because they indoctrinate you, bro. They literally brainwash you. They're like, here's all the research that supports this. This is what shows that this is going to work. So I was like, okay, got it. Because I'm like this young, naive, like, yeah, whatever they tell me, 100%. And then I had this Marine dude. He was out, but he was like doing contract work. And then I was like helping him through the CPT stuff, and we're on like module 4 maybe. And then he just ghosts. And the whole time, in all the sessions, it was like, he was like doing his homework and like super on it. And like, it seemed like he was drinking the Kool-Aid. But then he just ghosted, bro. And I like messaged him because I was working at a nonprofit at the time. Now I don't chase clients. I'm like, all right, you don't want to come in? That's on you, bro. It's your life. That's fine. I'm not going to freaking, hey, what's going on? Where are you? No. You got to do that yourself. That's just what I've learned. Not everyone's going to agree with that, but that's cool. So from that point, when he didn't show back up, I went through this phase of like, what did I do wrong? Like, was it me? And then once I worked through that and I was like, okay, why let me just figure out like what's missing here. And I was like, dude, I actually don't think it's actually getting to the root of stuff. Because I was like, well, why did they get PTSD in the first place? And is this going to help prevent another anchor of, like, say another trauma happens after they go through CPT? How do I know they're not going to get these symptoms again? And CPT could not answer that for me. They're like, oh, you basically have to challenge your thoughts 24/7 for the rest of your life. I was like, nah, bro, that can't be it. That can't be the answer. That's super inefficient. That can't be the answer. It's like, okay, do identity work. But it's like, you know what's interesting is in CPT, the last module is on relationships. Your intimate relationships. That actually was the most eye-opening to me. I was like, interesting that this is the last module, yet this is all every fucking veteran wants to talk about is their fucked up relationships. But we save it for the end, and we're actually taught to redirect the veteran every time they start talking about the relationship. Well, let's talk about your trauma. Let's just talk about your trauma, not your relationship. So I was like, why are we gaslighting them? And we're like, why are we fucking with them and not allowing them to talk about what they want to talk about? Why can't we do that? And I was like, there's something to this. And so this is what I do. I'm like, there's a mismatch happening here. They're not allowed to talk about what they want to talk about. They have to go the prescribed route. And I was like, that's creating more resistance in there. We're basically overriding their natural stuff that's trying to come out. And we're being like, oh, we know what's best for you. You don't know what's best for you. Fuck that. I was like, that's not how I roll. So that's when I abandoned ship on CPT. I was like, nope, not going to work for me. Fuck that. Hey, Melissa, how's Mikey? Oh, he's doing good. He's watching our crazy kids right now in the house. I'm in our little she shed. Well, this is my section of the she shed. So we have a shed that's like a 1-car garage that we just remodeled. And I was like, I want 1/4 of it. You can have 3/4. So my husband's room is in there. So he plays video games. And does other extracurricular activities. Okay. Sorry, I'm shitting all over CPT, but I want to be honest about these things, guys, because you guys are getting gaslit. Okay. Variety of proficiency at the professional level is so great. Comparison is meaningless. Yeah. I don't know. Comparison can be meaningful if it's being anchored from the right angle. Are you just doing it to build yourself and your own model, or are you using it to like help create an anchor to show the difference in like the level of resistance here and how much more expansive it is over here? It's how I view comparison being like helpful. I hope that makes sense. Don't have peeps and don't talk to people. You do have peeps, but they're inside of your body. You just don't know them yet. You can talk to yourself. You got parts inside of you, bro. You got a lot. And in the workshop that I just did, the replays in the little thing you can click on my main page under my profile picture. It does cost money. There is a energetic threshold that you have to show that you are serious. Basically, this is a priority to you. My clients pay me $200 a session. Just saying. And this isn't to brag. This isn't anything at all. I literally just set it up that way so I get people that really fucking want it. And because I only wanted to work a certain number of days and only have a certain number of clients, and I get results. So it's like you spend 3 years in therapy here, or you spend 3 months in therapy with me, kind of thing. But your peeps, what I said in my workshop was like, you have peeps inside of you that you are fighting. And how I framed them were your scouts, your QRF, and your RTO. You're fighting them. So if you want to know what the fuck I'm talking about, go check out my workshop. You're right on point. Thanks, man. Voice actor here, great live. Thanks. Yo, some of my clients are like, yo, like when I'm actually, when we're doing inner work, my tone totally shifts. Maybe I can give you a preview. Hold on. No, I can't. Basically, it's like a meditative thing. It's like, all right, go ahead and take a deep breath. Actually, in my couples course I have, there's 3 guided meditations in there. One's for inner child healing. One is for meeting your reactive self, and the other one is for, what is it, grounding. But you could literally go to sleep with it. It's funny. Shadow work, so you learn how to navigate life with your trauma. Yeah, dude, your traumas are your pointers to your life's purpose. No joke. They happen for a reason. So you can go ahead and alchemize it and then do something with it. And so how my trauma stuff comes out is how I was traumatized was due to my lack of self-love. So basically, when bad things happened, I positioned myself as less than in the victim mentality, and then it compounded and made me 10 times worse. So now I use that same skill that I have to overthink everything, and I'm applying it to the shit that ruined my life. And now I'm like figuring out a way to like help translate it for other people so they don't have to go through that like I had to. Let's see here. Any other questions, guys? Polyvagal theory has been very effective for me. EMDR has also been magical. Yeah, dude, EMDR, it can work until it doesn't. There's always going to be, basically, like, don't think any one thing is ever going to be the thing that does everything, because you have different layers that need to be addressed. So some layers don't need your intellectual cognitive awareness. Some layers are just, like, for example, when I was on deployment and I was doing some pull-ups, like I was doing pull-ups, and then all of a sudden I started bawling my fucking eyes out. No idea why, no clue. I was very confused and I didn't understand why. But what I was doing in that moment was I was pushing past my limits and feeling a little bit victim-y. But I was doing it anyway. And what that unlocked was old fucking emotions that were stored in the back of my neck. And that was the first time I ever thought about how you could store stuff in your body. This was before I was even a therapist. I was deployed. Some layers just require you to do physical fitness and push past your limits. Some layers can be released that way. Some layers can be let go of or alchemized through, say, sound healing, energy healing, Reiki, freaking acupuncture, cupping, whatever, physical stuff, vibration plate, fascia release tools. That's where everything's stored in your fascia, by the way. Look fascia up. It's a game changer. That's where most of your shit that you're dealing with physically, pain, all that stuff, that's where it's coming from. This is not medical advice. But so EMDR, what I found with that, bro. Okay, so I never learned EMDR like fully. I never read it. It never called to me for some reason. I just go where I feel curious about. EMDR never was it. And I was like, it's too mainstream. There's got to be something wrong with it. That's how I see stuff. It never would become mainstream if it didn't give you all the answers. If it didn't actually, I don't know, the powers that be would not allow that, basically. That's how I view it. So I'm like, there's got to be something wrong with it. So what I did find, though, as an eye movement thing, what I found was like, your eyes can be a gateway into your traumas or into these locations in your body to let go of some things. So what I did learn was accelerated resolution therapy, which you basically help people do this with their eyes. And what I think happens when you do this with your eyes, multiple things happen. I'm having 3 different thoughts come in at once. Hold on. Let me pick one. Okay. Multiple things happen. One of the things that happens is you're conscious mind is getting distracted at first with follow the hand. And so you're like, okay, and it feels like a little clunky at first, and you're following the hand or following the dot, following the light, whatever it is. And then it distracts you and overwhelms your experience to where you can now have access into those places where your protective system is basically sleeping. That's how the eye movement shit works. So what I found with the accelerated resolution therapy, basically it's like EMDR, but one session, or can be one session. Because you don't do this prescribed manualized therapy. What I found, anything fucking manualized is likely has a lot of missing shit in it. It's not, any therapy model out there has to be flexible. It has to adapt with the person as it changes. That's why I like internal family systems so much. Because it allows for the system to be approached properly. It's an art form, guys. Like, therapy is an art form. It cannot be manualized like that. That's why it feels so cold at the VA. They're literally reading a script, playing a role. And you can pick up on that because you've experienced life. You've seen shit. You can read people. You can tell when someone's not being authentic, when they're uncomfortable. A lot of these therapists are very uncomfortable in their own skin, and you can feel it. Or you can tell they don't believe in what they're doing. So why the fuck are you going to drink that Kool-Aid? You have an amazing intuition. That's what you're picking up on. So trust that. I'm not saying it's all bad though. Like, it's what you make of it, really. But if you're expecting one model to be the model that does everything, it's not going to work. Well, unless, of course, plug for me. That's funny. I just posted something yesterday on loops and spirals. Please watch it. It's like the last video I posted. It talks about the law of refinement. That you can apply for every single thing in your life. But yeah, the eyes are the gateway to the soul, I feel like. And I really feel like it activates your access to the quantum field. And you can access future versions of yourself to alchemize past traumas. That's how I view it. My world's really magical. Like, this is what fuels me. Because I'm just open to any possibility. I don't fucking close anything out. I've just seen it. I've seen some crazy shit in my sessions, like straight miracles. I'm not joking. Like, and supernatural things. That's why I'm open to anything now. All right, what we got? All right, I'll probably be on this for like another 10 minutes, and then I'll hop off and go eat something because I have a 1 o'clock. Okay, so if you had a burning question, go ahead and ask. I don't really do lives too much. I would like to do them more, but I have a lot of clients throughout the week usually, so I try to save my bandwidth, and then I produce videos instead because at least it's like evergreen. But I'll probably end up doing clips of this, so maybe I'll actually do this more. Somatic work can unlock prelingual trauma. Absolutely. I never, it was another thing in school. I never learned about the somatic stuff. Granted, I got a clinical social work degree, so we're not as we're more exploring the macro systems than like learning straight therapies. We're basically learning the biggest picture of all, and we're kind of trained to be managers and advocates and stuff like that. But absolutely, somatic work, which is basically body work. And what you're doing is you're activating your command center, the observer, and you're going into your body and you're rapidly alchemizing stuff that's in there through your intentional awareness. Your imagination, too, is a tool. It's a quantum tool. Like, I'm 100% convinced that when you go and do inner child healing, that is you going back to your younger self, answering a prayer that you had at the time, like, please, someone save me. You're actually going back and you're rescuing your younger self. Like, I genuinely believe we are changing the past in the quantum space And because there's instant changes in the physical reality present moment. How could that happen? How is that possible to occur if we're not manipulating the past? At first it was just a theory. I was like, yo, what if? But then I saw some stuff that was like irrefutable. I was like, fuck, we're actually changing. This is why like veterans have a very vivid imaginations usually. That's why their flashbacks are so vivid. That's their greatest tool. You are literally going back there in those moments. What are you going to do with that access? Are you going to be on the ground level in that body, or are you going to activate your command center and observe it and actually manipulate that situation and change the past for your benefit? Human Garage does very awesome fascia work. Sweet. Hopefully you get someone they can follow. I think about where the aggression came from, but I can't pinpoint it. But I understand it's not a good response. Oh, no. No, you can pinpoint. You don't have to pinpoint exactly why you have aggression. All you got to do is pinpoint where you feel the aggression and sit in that place. Activate your command center, literally, which is the observer. Wow, I feel a lot of aggression here right now. Let me go sit with it. It's almost like visualize yourself sitting next to yourself. You're human. Wow, my human's really upset right now. And almost imagine yourself putting your arm around him or her, whatever, and be like, yo, it's okay, man. Just feel it. Just feel it. It's like what you would do with a kid. If you're a good parent, it's what you would do with your kid. And if you struggle to do that with your kid, that shows how you treat your inner self, period. If you think you're a shitty parent, it's because you treat yourself like shit. So start working on yourself and you'll become an amazing parent. Basically self-love, patience. EMDR helped, but it didn't fix my reactions or response. Yeah, it'll get a layer. That's why people feel relief. But you cannot sit. Once you start feeling like something's not working and you're trying to force it to fit, that's a sign you need to pivot to something else. Whatever's calling to you. And it'll likely present itself to you in your physical reality by like maybe a TikTok video. Maybe you'll see a sign on the side of the road. Maybe someone will say something in a conversation. You're like, yeah, I tried equine therapy last week and it was really great. Da, 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 da. That could be something that's like, you're like, oh, maybe I should try that. Anything that like catches your attention, you're like, that might be what you need to use for your next layer. And it doesn't even have to be therapeutic things, dude. It could be like your elderly neighbor is asking help moving something. That could be the thing that unlocks your next layer. But you have to have eyes to see. I was there when the dog said it, but I didn't believe in the color red. So who was it? That's going over my head. I must be... Wait, restate that. What do you mean by that? I did EFT with a coach. Emotionally focused therapy or EFT tapping? I fell in love with emotionally focused therapy. That actually introduced me to cycles because there's emotionally focused individual therapy and it tracks cycles. That's what opened my mind to like, holy shit, we're all repeating the same loops over and over and over. And that's what led me to physics. Because I was like, holy shit, the same thing happens in nature. We can apply the same model to ourselves. So that's what my workshop was all about, which the replay is available in my bio. All right. Good morning, good afternoon. Absolutely love your videos. They truly help me a lot. Did I already read this? Or maybe there's just another person in it. Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I hope my goal in my videos is that I say what you're already thinking so you feel more normal. That's my goal. Or it's like, fuck, she just called me out. Shit. It's like you already knew it, but then someone says it and then you're like, fuck, fine. That's my goal in my videos. So I try different angles to achieve that. My VA therapists usually end up reversing roles and I become their therapist. Yeah, you need to fucking dip out ASAP. Stop doing that. They need to check themselves. That's a big deal. This is what I mean by therapists need to do their own fucking inner work before they become therapists, or at least in the beginning when they're an intern. I can spot it in a second, bro. If I see a video of another therapist on here, I'm like, they haven't done their fucking shadow work. No way. You can see it. You can feel it. Even me, like, I can feel myself. I'm like, wow, there's something I need to look at here, because that was a little bit off, or that was a weird angle that I just had there on my video. And I'll go back and I'll look at myself. Have you done a video on rumination? I have. I'm 1,000 followers away from freaking being able to create playlists. It is so annoying that it takes so long to build. Where like one video, some dumbass like dancing video gets someone like 1 million views and shit. Where like my content can actually save lives, and it's like slowly snail crawl. Because I'm like, I just want to get to 10,000. That's all I care about, so I can create playlists so people can access stuff quick. That's all I fucking care about. I don't need to make money off TikTok. Fuck that. I mean, I guess I kind of am, because I'm like selling workshops, but my goal is to stop my one-on-one sessions and start creating content full time, so I can help people who don't want to go to therapy or whatever. And I need to catch them where they're at. Like, everyone's on TikTok, everyone's on social media, so I got to be there. Like, I value my one-on-one sessions, but I'm at a place now to where I need to reach masses, not one at a time. My therapist likes to talk in circles. I said, you got to learn how to teach people to make straight. Yeah, your therapist, bro. Please explore outside of that. Well, I would actually point this to a loop you have. The fact that you're sitting through that and you keep coming back, that's a loop, bro. You need to look at yourself. Be like, why don't I love myself enough to set a boundary here? Why am I putting them above me when they're supposed to be helping me? I need that. I don't remember anything from my childhood. Yeah, that's okay if you don't remember anything. There's a reason for that. Sometimes little snippets will reveal themselves as you explore, but sometimes they don't, and you don't need to know. Because it's not, your body is very intelligent. Your mind, your consciousness, very fucking intelligent. Smarter than you have access to, at least. So your mind is going to block stuff you do not need to see right now. You don't have the capacity to deal with that right now. It's not that you can't handle it. It's just like, it's going to distract you. So like one time, okay, so I did my own therapy with an internal family systems therapist. And I had to deal with like a sexual trauma from when I was 6. And the only way I could get access to that trauma, like without getting super distracted, was through the eye movement. Because my mind was just like blocking it at every turn. I just kept like feeling like I was getting, like I couldn't hold the focus. And then she was like, let's just try this little ball moving across the screen. And I was like, okay. So I already knew how to do like inner child healing and stuff. So all I needed was that ball going across the screen to hold my eye gaze. And then I automatically started healing my inner child. And it was insane. There was a massive energetic release on my physical body. That was the first time I'd ever experienced that. I Googled it afterwards and I was like, what was this? And then someone was like, oh, and the internal family systems like Facebook group. They're like, that's chi energy. And I was like, what's that? And I had to Google all this stuff. I didn't know any of this before. And I was like, what did I just feel in my freaking arms that released? And I felt this like surge. It felt like adrenaline. I had to go outside. I had to take my shoes off. I was at work. Like I did my therapy session like in the morning. And then I didn't have a session for like another 2 hours. Thank God. Because I had so much energy that released after I healed that inner child. I had to go outside, take my shoes off, and I was walking in this business park on this little strip of grass with some trees, and I was literally hugging trees. I just instinctively did that, which now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had so much energy that had to leave my body that was being stored inside of me. I had to let the tree have it. And it took a good hour. But I felt amazing. I felt like I was on drugs afterwards. Like I felt like I could like nothing could touch me. It was crazy when I felt that release, and I was like, oh my gosh, this shit's real. But going back to my point of like, you don't have to remember all your stuff because it'll distract you. There was another thing that she was exploring, my therapist was exploring, and she was like, asked me a question, and then I was going inside of myself, like through the internal family systems model. And it was like, what happened when you were 2? Because I said something about being 2. And then, so I'm talking to this inner part of me, and it was about to show me what happened when I was 2. And it showed this like scene, and then it stopped. And then I got this big burst of like purple energy in my eyes. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I explored that because that's a protective part trying to stop me from seeing it. And so as I explored it, what the protective part said was, and this is all just like internal monologue stuff, that inner voice in your head. It's not just you in there. It's kind of like multiple personalities. So just accept that that's a thing and that everybody has it and different, on the spectrum, I guess, of intensity of like how much you're splitting off when those parts come out. But what that part said to me, that purple, like bright light, was like, you don't need to know that right now, because if you do, you're going to go down a bunch of rabbit holes and it's going to stray you from whatever your mission, essentially. And it felt like it wasn't trying to fuck with me. It wasn't scared or anything like that. It was just like a very wise voice inside of me. And I was like, okay, I don't need to know. So there's a reason why you don't remember stuff, and just kind of trust that right now. But that doesn't mean you don't need to like go inside and start working on yourself. It just means like sometimes you don't need to know all that. You can just tend to the emotions, which are the energetic packages I was talking about. You're just trying to correct these instant reactions and not hide them anymore. Highly recommend you check out my workshop, because I went over how to do that. Wow, you're so beautiful. Thank you. I'm tired of, I do have like a little filter on that kind of takes away my wrinkles. That might be, that might be what you're seeing. But I think I'm beautiful. That's really what matters. Okay. I'm tired of trying to be what everyone wants me to be. Yeah, dude or girl. Nicole. There's a reason for that. It's time. It's time. It's time to just stop being what everyone wants you to be. I stopped, and it feels amazing. And look, I'm an example of what happens when you stop playing a role. Feels amazing. Your peeps will find you when you do. But just know that there's a grieving process, I guess, when you do start like standing authentically and being yourself and like setting boundaries and stuff. You're going to go through a lot of trial and error, and there's going to be a lot of friction because you're basically busting out of your cycle. Okay. What are your specializations as LCSW? Trauma and relationships. That's like what I specialize in. But it's all, I specialize in humans. Because the model I use applies to any person at any point in their life. I did inner child healing, and that's what happened with me. Different colors and lots of randomness. Dude, I'm telling you guys, a lot of veterans, this is what I'll leave you with. Okay. A lot of veterans have gifts that are right now clogging, like they're clogged. When you unclog, when you do your trauma work, whatever way you do that, you'll get clear access to your gifts, where right now your gifts may feel like extreme intense flashbacks and nightmares. But in reality, your gift is your imagination and your ability to vividly see things and problem solve things in your mind, and then applying that in the physical space. Some people, they are extrasensory abilities. Veterans are very tapped in, but they're also very hijacked. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. because I'm helping them unclog and unblock so they have access to their gifts cleanly, so they can do what they're here to do. There's a reason why you felt called to join the military. And then when you got out, you felt like your mission was gone. It's because that wasn't your mission. That was your training ground. So I'll leave you there. What model do I use? I created my own. It's a combo between internal family systems, some aspects, but I created my own model. I call it the spiral recovery model. It's physics-based. Okay, I'm going to hop off, go get some lunch. This was a pleasure, guys. Thank you for joining me. And for those of you who don't click and come into the thing, hi. I'm one of those people that hover in the background that never click on the they click on the lives. It's really good to see you guys. What I wanted to achieve with this was building more trust with my followers and like showing that I'm a fucking human. And to get more traction with followers so I can get to 10,000 so I can start making playlists so people can find helpful material more easily depending on what they're dealing with. So if you missed stuff, like check out the links that are in my bio and see if stuff resonates with you and go from there. Also, I have tons of videos that are very helpful on so many levels. But all right, you guys take care. I'll see you on the flip side.